In the middle of summer, the same strange thing happens in almost every productive garden. Not long ago, you were waiting for the first ripe tomato. You checked the cucumbers every morning. You were excited about every new zucchini, and then the harvest begins coming in faster than you can use it. A bowl of tomatoes appears on the kitchen counter. Cucumbers picked several days ago are lying in the refrigerator. A bunch of basil is wilting on the windowsill, and another basket of zucchini is waiting near the door, and you have already run out of ideas for what to do with them. At first, you tell yourself that you will cook everything tomorrow, but tomorrow, another batch comes in from the garden. Some tomatoes become too soft, the cucumbers lose their crunch, the herbs darken, and at some point, part of the harvest ends up in the trash or compost. And the most unpleasant part is not even the cost of these vegetables. You grew them from tiny seeds. You watered them, protected them from heat and pests, waited for several months, and then you did not manage to use the result of your own work. But the problem is not that you are a bad gardener. Quite the opposite. The problem appeared precisely because your garden turned out to be more productive than your kitchen. And to save the harvest, you do not have to buy expensive equipment or spend the entire day beside boiling jars. Today I will show you 7 ways to use excess vegetables and herbs before they begin to spoil. One of them takes about 10 minutes. Another lets you make a free dinner from vegetables that are usually thrown away. And the final method does not store the harvest in your home at all. But this method sometimes saves more produce than a freezer, jars, and a dehydrator combined. Tell me in the comments which crop is currently giving you more produce than you can eat. Cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini, or perhaps green beans. The first method is quick vegetables in a vinegar brine that are stored in the refrigerator. This is not the kind of canning that requires preparing dozens of jars, sterilizing the entire kitchen, and watching a boiling water bath. This method is for the cucumbers you picked today and already know you will not manage to eat within the next few days. Imagine an ordinary situation. On Monday, you picked 4 cucumbers from the vines. On Tuesday, you found 3 more. By Friday, there is already an entire bowl sitting in the kitchen. Cucumbers grow quickly, and even one missed day can sometimes turn a small harvest into a real surplus. This is exactly when you will need a clean glass jar, vegetables, brine, and some free space in the refrigerator. Cut the cucumbers into rounds or long spears. You can add radishes, thinly sliced onion, carrots, green beans, or hot peppers. Place garlic, dill, peppercorns, or any other spices you like into the jar. Then pour over the vegetables a brine prepared according to a tested recipe using ordinary food-grade vinegar with 5% acidity. Close the jar and immediately place it in the refrigerator. Because these vegetables do not go through full processing for storage at room temperature, the jar must remain in the refrigerator at all times. The main advantage of this method is not only its simplicity. You can process the harvest in small batches. You do not need to wait until you have accumulated 10 or 20 pounds of cucumbers. Picked a few extra vegetables, fill 1 jar. Picked more a few days later, make another one. This way, the harvest does not sit on the counter until it is too late to save it. Small, firm cucumbers are especially convenient for this type of preparation. For example, varieties such as Kirby or National Pickling, but you can also use ordinary cucumbers from your garden. Just choose fresh, firm fruits before they begin to soften. 1 jar will take you only a few minutes, but those few minutes can save an entire bowl of vegetables that would have ended up in the compost a week later. The second method is freezing, but there is one mistake here that causes many people to become disappointed with frozen vegetables. Third, in summer they put fresh green beans or broccoli into a bag, and in winter they take gray, soft vegetables with almost no flavor out of the freezer. The freezer was working properly. The bag was sealed, but one important step was skipped. That step is called blanching. Even after vegetables are frozen, processes that affect their flavor, color, and texture continue inside them. Cold significantly slows them down, but for most vegetables, cold alone is not enough. A brief dip in boiling water helps stop enzyme activity before the vegetables go into the freezer. And that is exactly why properly frozen green beans look completely different in winter from beans that were simply placed raw into a bag. Prepare a large pot of boiling water and a separate container filled with very cold water and ice. Lower the vegetables into the boiling water in small batches. Green beans usually require about 3 minutes. Small broccoli florets also require about 3 minutes when blanched in water. But the time differs for different vegetables and depends on the size of the pieces. Therefore, before freezing a specific crop, be sure to check an official blanching time chart. Immediately after heating, transfer the vegetables into ice water. Cooling should take approximately the same amount of time as blanching. This is important. Otherwise, the vegetables will continue cooking because of the retained heat and become too soft. After cooling, drain the water thoroughly and spread the vegetables on a towel. The less excess moisture remains on the surface, the better the result will be. Now spread the vegetables in a single layer on a baking sheet and place them in the freezer for a short time. Once the individual pieces are frozen, transfer them into a bag. This way, green beans, broccoli, or sliced carrots will not turn into one enormous block of ice. You will be able to take exactly as much as you need for soup, a side dish, or a stew. Remove as much air from the bag as possible. Write the name of the product and the date. This simple label seems unnecessary only in summer. In winter, almost all frozen green bags begin to look the same. But not everything needs to be blanched. Sweet peppers can be sliced and frozen for future hot dishes. Ripe tomatoes can be washed, damaged areas removed, and frozen for sauces and soups. Their texture will change after thawing, so they will no longer be suitable for a fresh salad. But for tomato sauce, this makes almost no difference. And zucchini can be grated, lightly squeezed, and frozen in portions for bread, pancakes, or baking. Do not freeze everything in one enormous bag. Think about how much your family uses at one time. 1 cup of grated zucchini, 1 dinner-sized portion of green beans, enough tomatoes for 1 pot of sauce. The more convenient the portions are, the more likely you are to actually use them in winter. Proper freezing is not simply placing the harvest in the cold. It means preparing it so that several months later, it is still convenient food, rather than a forgotten bag at the bottom of the freezer. The third method is intended for vegetables that no longer look perfect. 1 tomato has become too soft. Half of a sweet pepper is left. A handful of green beans was not used for dinner. A zucchini grew a little larger than you planned. Usually, each of these products seems like too small a problem to deal with separately, but together they can become a complete dinner. All you need is 1 bag in the freezer. Let us call it the soup bag. Place a large resealable bag in the freezer. Every time you have a small piece of vegetable left, roughly chop it and add it to the bag. Tomatoes, peppers, onions, carrots, celery, zucchini, corn, kale, green beans. You do not need evenly sized cubes here. You do not need a beautiful shape. Later, all these vegetables will end up in one pot. But there is one important rule. Only put normal, edible vegetables that have not spoiled into the bag. A soft tomato can be used. A vegetable with mold, slime, or an unpleasant smell cannot. Freezing does not turn spoiled food back into fresh food. Therefore, add leftovers to the bag immediately without waiting for them to begin spoiling. When you have accumulated approximately 6 to 8 cups of vegetables, pour the contents of the bag into a pot. Add broth or water. Add salt, pepper, garlic, and dried herbs. You can add beans, lentils, rice, pasta, or pieces of cooked meat. After 30 to 40 minutes, you will have a large pot of soup, not made from ingredients purchased specifically for it, but from small leftovers that almost certainly would have been forgotten on their own. The most valuable part of this method is that it does not require you to make a decision every day. You do not need to come up with a separate recipe for 1 pepper or 2 tomatoes. You simply put them into 1 bag. By the end of the season, you may have several of these bags in the freezer, and on a cold autumn evening, each one becomes a ready-made base for dinner. The fourth method saves something that often spoils faster than any vegetable. Fresh herbs. Basil may begin flowering before you manage to make pesto from it. Dill wilts. Cilantro turns into a dark, wet mass at the bottom of the refrigerator. Parsley looks fresh, but after a few days it becomes soft. You usually do not have too many herbs at one time. The problem is that their usable life is very short. One of the most convenient options is to freeze chopped herbs in small portions. Wash them, thoroughly remove the excess water, finely chop them or blend them, distribute them among the sections of an ice cube tray. Depending on how you plan to use them, you can add a little water or vegetable oil. After freezing, transfer the cubes into a labeled bag. Now, when you are cooking soup, pasta, rice, sauce, or stewed vegetables, you do not need to thaw an entire container. You take 1 or 2 cubes and add them directly to the hot dish. This method can preserve basil, parsley, dill, chives, oregano, and other aromatic herbs that you use while cooking. You can go even further with basil. Prepare a large batch of pesto when the plant is just beginning to become overgrown. Then divide the pesto among small molds or freeze it in a thin layer inside a bag. If the mixture is frozen in a flat layer, it is easy to break off a small piece. And instead of buying another jar of sauce, you use basil that was growing near your home several months earlier. Throughout the season, regularly cut the herbs before they begin flowering heavily. Do not wait until the entire plant becomes too old. A small batch of cubes every few weeks is easier than trying to process the entire plant in one evening. And the basil that would normally have ended the season in the compost can now add flavor to your meals for several more months. The fifth method looks a little more unusual. Instead of trying to stop all bacteria, it uses the work of certain microorganisms. This is fermentation. But here you cannot simply add salt by eye, close the jar, and hope that everything works. For a safe result, you need to follow a tested recipe, use the correct amount of salt, and maintain the proper temperature and time. During fermentation, salt helps create an environment in which the necessary microorganisms gain an advantage. They process the natural sugars in the vegetables and gradually produce acid. But the amount of salt must not be reduced at your own discretion. In fermented vegetables, it affects more than just flavor. It is important for the process to proceed properly and for the texture to be preserved. For your first batch, it is better to choose a product for which tested instructions exist. For example, cucumbers, cabbage for sauerkraut, or another vegetable from an official home fermentation recipe. 7. Use canning or pickling salt. Ordinary iodized salt can also be safe if the amount precisely matches a tested recipe, although its additives can sometimes make the brine cloudy. Most importantly, do not replace the specified salt with reduced sodium products and do not reduce its quantity at your own discretion. All vegetables must remain beneath the surface of the brine. Pieces that stick out above the liquid come into contact with air and may begin to spoil. Use a clean weight designed for fermentation or another safe method recommended in the recipe. For fermented cucumbers, a temperature of approximately 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit is often used. At this temperature, the full process may take about 3 to 4 weeks, rather than only a few days. Monitor the product. If a clearly unpleasant smell, slime, unusual softening, or other signs of spoilage appear, the preparation must not be tasted. Fermentation is an ancient method, but ancient does not mean that the proportions and conditions can be guessed. Follow tested instructions from the USDA, the National Center for Home Food Preservation, or your local extension service. Then a jar of vegetables becomes not a dangerous experiment, but a clear way to preserve part of the harvest. The sixth method is especially useful when tomatoes, peppers, or zucchini begin ripening by the basketful. This is drying. A fresh tomato contains a large amount of water, and it is this water that creates the conditions in which the product spoils quickly. A dehydrator gradually removes moisture using warm moving air. The product becomes smaller and lighter, and its usable life increases significantly. For drying, it is better to choose firm produce without damage or signs of spoilage. Roma-type tomatoes are especially convenient because of their meaty flesh and relatively low amount of juice. Cut the vegetables into evenly sized pieces. Arrange them in a single layer without placing them on top of one another. I've set the temperature recommended for the specific product and your dehydrator model. Then let the appliance do most of the work. But you cannot rely only on the number of hours. The same product may dry differently in a dry climate and in a room with high humidity. The thickness of the slices also changes the drying time. Therefore, check the condition of the pieces. There should be no areas with noticeable moisture remaining on them. After drying, allow the products to cool completely before packaging them. If you place warm pieces into a closed jar, condensation may form inside, and that returns the moisture you were just trying to remove. Dried tomatoes can be added to pasta, soups, and bread. Hot peppers can be ground into flakes or powder. Thin slices of zucchini can become vegetable chips. Herbs are dried at a lower temperature to preserve their aromatic oils more effectively. After they are completely dry, store the products in airtight packaging in a cool, dry, and dark place. If you do not have a dehydrator, some products can be dried in the oven, but an oven usually operates at a higher temperature, uses more energy, and requires careful supervision. Therefore, a separate dehydrator is more convenient for regular large batches. For a small trial batch, you can begin with the equipment you already have at home. Now imagine that you have already filled the freezer, made vegetables in brine, frozen the herbs, dried the tomatoes and peppers, but the zucchini continue to grow, the tomatoes continue to ripen, and the green beans appear faster than you can pick them. At this point, many gardeners begin throwing away the harvest again, not because they do not know any preservation methods, but because the family physically cannot use that much produce. And this is where the seventh method appears. Do not preserve everything in your own kitchen. Pass part of the harvest to a place where it can be used immediately. One productive zucchini plant can produce more fruit than a beginning gardener expects. If you planted several plants, a surplus is almost inevitable, and there is no reason to fill the entire freezer with vegetables your family does not even like. First, ask your neighbors, but do not leave an enormous bag of zucchini at their door without an explanation. Make the gift convenient. Place several vegetables in a small basket or paper bag. Add a simple recipe. For example, Roma tomatoes and a recipe for roasted tomato sauce, zucchini and a recipe for zucchini bread, hot peppers and instructions for homemade salsa. When a person understands how to use the vegetables, the gift stops being an additional problem. Tell me in the comments which of these methods you would try first. And if you already have your own way of using extra tomatoes, cucumbers, or zucchini, share it. Your tip might help another gardener save their next basket of produce. And if you know someone who grows more vegetables every summer than they can use, send them this video. It is better to do it now, before the next batch of ripe tomatoes is forgotten on the kitchen counter again.